Okay. Yeah. Where are we?
Yeah, recording.
Okay, so welcome to our Halacha series. We're starting tonight at Hilchot Purim. So we've got a very busy week this week, and we'll start with. Okay, so first thing we have on Tanit Esther, the fast of Esther. So this is one of the Taniyot, which was one of the 4 fasts which all of Am Yisrael is obligated to fast. What is the purpose of this fast? So there's a few reasons. One of them that to remember the fast in the olden times when Esther fasted, and that is really supposed to bring us to Shuvah. You're going to fast in order to be merit. Okay, when we're talking about, when I said in the Megillah, you have a power to turn around all your mazal and to change everything of the mazal, but that's got to do with Teshuvah. Okay, there's not a magic wand. You do Teshuvah before and then you come into synagogue and then you can completely change your mazal. So when the Halacha says to listen to every word of the Megillah, yes, listen to every word of the Megillah. That completely changes your mazal in everything. It's not limited to one area of your life. Everything that you want, and Be'ezrat Hashem to bring the Geula. There's the fast of Esther. So the Shuvah to remember in those times. Also the times when they used to. Who is patur from the fasting? Who is not obligated to fast?
Is it a firstborn?
No, not firstborn, but I'm saying anybody who is a Jewish adult is obligated to fast. Healthy adult. Who is those who are exempt from fasting?
An ill person, a child.
Okay, so obviously children are not obligated to fast. Elderly, ill people, or elderly people, or women that are expecting, or after childbirth, menikot, or they're expecting, and
should a woman fast on Yom Kippur? Expecting women fast on Yom Kippur.
So Yom Kippur is different. Yom Kippur is different to other fasts. All the fasts that she's exempt from, Yom Kippur she needs to fast. Okay, unless it's going to be sakana to her health. I know women that had different issues, and every time a rabbi should be asked. But on a normal healthy woman that needs to give birth, she needs to fast. Yeah, a woman after birth, then she will be patur. In some cases, it will be patur from Kippur because during the first 30 days, it's a sakana. She's cholesh shesh sakana. But for Purim, Tanit Esther, they're exempt, patur from. Now, not only that, any person who's ill, even if you're a man and you're healthy, but if you have pain in your eyes, eyes represents the whole body illness. Now this year, anyone who is suffering from COVID or has any symptoms for COVID is also patur from fasting. So the many people which are patur this year just because of that reason. So let's do it again. We've got the women, ill people, also a chatan. Chatan is patur, and also Avia Ben, Mohel and Sandak, also patur from the Tanit. Even a woman after childbirth, but also even after miscarriage. That's already called like an illness, like a chole, that would be patur.
What do you mean chatan?
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that question. What do I mean chatan? Yes, Gilad. I mean Shiva Amin. That means if you get married, someone gets married, let's say on Sunday. Okay, so Thursday, he's still in his Sheva Brachot, he's still in his week of being a Chatan, and he'll be obviously Kala as well. We exempt from fasting. For them, it's like a Yom Tov. So they're patur from fasting. And also Avia Ben and also Moel as well. Anyone else who's healthy should fast on this day. And it's important to fast. And there's a special tefillah that you can have a koach to achieve on the day of Tanit Esther. Okay, second thing is the minhag of Machatzit shekel. What is Machatzit shekel?
It's this Shabbat or next? Or this? So
I'm talking about next week, Thursday. Okay, because there's not going to be a shiur next week because of Purim. So I'm doing all the halachot early this week, so we're all prepared for next week. Machatzit shekel. So how much amount does it tzedakah to give? So in the times of the Beit HaMikdash, all of Am Yisrael used to bring half a shekel, which is a silver coin, to the Beit HaMikdash. Why? Because he used to buy all the korbanot tzibur for everyone to make an atonement. The kohen brings the korban, which is a kapara for all of Am Yisrael. Now, how does he fund it? With this money of Machatzit shekel. Now, it's not just for fundraising that we need to give this Machatzit shekel. It was very important that every single person in Am Yisrael gives his Chetzi shekel, because everyone needs a part of that korban. You can get a few big richies to sponsor all the korbanot for the whole year. Yeah, you could, but then you're not going to have every individual having a chelek in it. So it's important to everyone to participate and everyone to take part. So everyone puts in a half a shekel. So now we have a zecher to remember that as a zecher, it's important minhag to fulfill. Two things about it: how much to give, who to give to, and how to give it. So first of all, it's important it's just to remember the machatzit shekel. How is it calculated? It's calculated through the weight of silver. So it's a few grams of silver, and in today's value, it's 9 grams of pure silver. So I know how much the value is in Israel today, but it changes every year. It can change it, every day according to the current rate of silver. So as far as I know today, it's something like 21 or 23 shekels. So if you convert it to pounds, maybe it's 5 pounds.
6.3.
6.3 what,
Yeah.
pounds?
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for that. So 6.3 pounds, that's machatzit shekel. Now it's important to do this minhag. You go to synagogue and you say zecher machatzit shekel, and you can give it. Now you can give it also by debit card or credit card. It doesn't have to be cash, but minhag is with cash to give 5. Now 2 things. First of all, ma'asot. If you have a minhag to give ma'aser, this is not for ma'aser money. Ma'aser money is all the tzedakah that you give, but it's not obligation for you. This is your only obligation, duty, to take part in the Kodesh. So in the olden times, there used to be the Beit HaMikdash. Nowadays, where do you give it? You give it to either to a synagogue or a place where they study Torah, because that is what gives you merit. The place where they study Torah. So if you have a synagogue where there's shiurei Torah, so give it to that. If there's not really a place of shiurei Torah, so give it to a different place. Different place where they study Torah. That's the best place to give it to. Yeshivot or things like that where they give Torah. Rabbi Netanel also gives another minhag. He said also good to do. Apart from that 6 pounds that you're giving, £6.30, to give a 3 half coins. So in England, it will be 50p, so 3 50p's. Or in Israel, it will be 3 half a shekels. But 3 50p's is just an extra minhag. It's not obligated. So for adults, you give for you and you give for your wife. So it'll be £6 for each, or £6.50 for each of you. And for children, do that £1.50, 3 50p coins. That is the fulfill the mitzvah. When do you do this mitzvah? When? On Tanit Esther, before Megillah. So you go after Mincha or before Mincha, that's the time when you give it, and you can give it. So maybe you can give it on your phone or through credit card, or ensure to give it cash. Every synagogue where you go to read the Megillah, you have it. Now Megillah, what do you do this year about Megillah?
Can you read the Megillah on Zoom? Is it?
So that's what we want to talk about now.
Many will.
Okay, so first let's talk about if you have the opportunity to go to synagogue or to go to a private Megillah reading. Now, I cannot express the importance of it. According to Halacha, if you have your own kasher Megillah, you can read at home. If you have your kasher Megillah, I don't know how much a kasher Megillah costs, maybe a couple of $100, maybe £300 or £400, maybe something like that, a kasher Megillah. It's not expensive. A lot of people have their own, but even if you have your own kasher Megillah, there is a big mitzvah to go to shul because of the mitzvah of Pirsum and Nisa. So women go, children go, old and young, and it's important to make a big importance of this Megillah. This is the whole emunah of Am Yisrael, is this Megillah. So if you're healthy and there's a minyan which you can go to, make sure you go. If you can't. Second best, if you have a kasher Megillah from read at home. Third best is on radio. Or Zoom. Now Zoom is different Megillah to anything else. You cannot do minyan on Zoom. You cannot read Sefer Torah on Zoom. Okay, you can't do brachot on Zoom. But Megillat Esther you can read on Zoom. Why? Because the main thing is to hear it. If the person is reading from a kasher Megillah and is Yotzeh, so this is only for someone who can't go to synagogue and he doesn't have opportunity to a private Megillah reading. Maybe some of your neighbors, if you live in a Jewish area, maybe someone as a neighbor has a kasher Megillah. That's good. If not, then it's also kasher, but you have to do it also on Zoom. That is going to be on Thursday night and Friday. Now, do you have to read the Megillah twice? Yes, both times. Both times, Friday night and Shabbat. They're very important. Does women have to read the Megillah? Yes, also women have to read the Megillah. And if she can't read it, you try to read it for her. Now, there's many Zoom readings, I know.
Is this Purim? Does it fall on Shabbat? This
Oh, that's very good. One of the reasons you can do Zoom is because Purim never falls on Shabbat. Even this year, where in Yerushalayim it would be on Shabbat, we move it to Sunday. That means they read the Megillah on Friday and they do mitzvot on Sunday. It's split up, so Sunday and Friday and Sunday. But for us, those who don't live in Yerushalayim, London or outside Yerushalayim, we do everything on Friday. So that's why you can do Zoom. Otherwise, you couldn't do Zoom on
is it
Shabbat.
Thursday night, Friday?
So Thursday night and Friday, yeah. So both to read both times.
But officially, it's Friday night, Saturday.
No, officially it's Thursday night and Friday. But every year in Jerusalem, they keep the day after Purim. Shushan Purim. So we do everything on Al-Nisim. We add the Tfilah and Birkat Hamazon. So just to quickly, the mitzvot of the day. Megillah needs to be read at night and in the day. And there is 4 mitzvot during the day. First mitzvah, Megillah. Next mitzvah,
Seudah.
Before Seudah. 2 very important mitzvot before Seudah.
Matanot le'Evyonim.
Matanot le'Evyonim. Okay, so very good. So Matanot le'Evyonim. Question number 1, how much needs to be matana?
£6.20, you say?
No, so it's 2 different. But Matanot le'Evyonim.
It's a full meal of.
So for a full meal. Okay, so how much would you pay? Yeah, how much would you pay for go drink or a falafel, a sandwich? How much would it be? That's how much you pay. £15, £10. If you want a shawarma, you pay £20.
Rabbi, you eat expensive food.
I'm talking about you. I'm talking about for you guys in London. We give 25 shekel.
Yeah.
No, I like to give more. I like to give 50 shekel because Purim, I like to give tzedakah on Purim. Kol hapotech yad notnim lo, which means whoever asks for money on Purim, you give him. But the Hasidic farm, Yaakov, this is for you, Yaakov. The Hasidic farm, they tell us kol hapotech yad notnim lo. When you open your hands to heaven, and you ask Hashem, please give me. So Hashem opens a book. You want me to give you? Okay, let's see if you deserve it. Let's open it. Listen, I don't know. We have to see about this, okay? That's on a normal day. On Purim, kol hapotech yad notnim lo. That means anyone goes, turns to Kadosh Baruch Hu and we pray, he receives the nisim on Purim. That's why I like to do my tefillah on Purim, and I like to give tzedakah. So I save up a little bit during the year, and Purim I give out. And I carry a lot of change and cash in my pocket. And I say, the children ask you for money, you give them a shekel, you give them a coin, give them a matanot le'Evyonim, I give. How many Evyonim do you need to give? How many? 1 or 2? That's
At least 2, it's Evyonim.
2. So minimum of Evyonim, very good, is 2. You need to give to 2 Evyonim. Mishloach manot, how many do you need to give? 1. That's what you need to give. 1 mishloach manot, but matanot needs to be to 2 people.
Well, what is the difference between mishloach manot and matanot?
Okay, so we're going to speak about it now. Matanot le'Evyonim is to give cash. Okay, now if you're stuck at home because of COVID or you're in lockdown, so you can do it on credit card, online, to an organization but not just to any organization that gives out the money on Purim day. One of the purposes of Mishloach Manot is that they can use it, that the person receives it on Purim and he becomes happy. Okay, that's why you can do it beforehand. Now, if you can do a shliach, you can do a messenger to send it beforehand. That's another thing from the Purim Kollel, because I give it out. We give out to the people studying Torah, and the organization is all run by volunteers like me, and there's no other expenses. All the tzedakah goes purely directly to the person studying the Torah. There's no offices or legislation or advertising. That's it. It's all pure tzedakah. So if you give it beforehand, as for intention of matanat le'Evyonim, so we have that in mind, and that money goes to that person for your mitzvah that day. So I give also for me and for my wife, because she's not going to go out. She's busy at home, kitchen and children. So I say, this is 50 shekel for me, this is 50 shekel for my wife, or one Evyon. I go to someone else and I do the same thing. So I'm covered, me and my wife and that. And my children, I teach them. Each child, I give them 5 shekel. Go make sure you give your matanot le'Evyonim. But make sure you do that in the morning when you're in synagogue, Megillah. Because after you go home, now go find the Evyon, go online, go and find. There's always people collecting in synagogue. There's always someone to give it to. Make sure you do it. 2 people. Okay, so how much is that in money? So it depends how much you eat. Yaakov said if you eat expensive, you give more, you give less. How much you eat, you know what you give a meal. That is matanot le'evyanim. Next mitzvah is mishloach manot. So we're going to speak what's the difference about mishloach manot. So evyon is for poor people. Mishloach manot is ish le're'ehu, to your friend. Now who is your friend? Now, some people like to give more than mishloach manot. If you receive, you like to give back to who you receive from, but the mitzvah is for one. So you make sure that you do your mitzvah with one friend, okay? And your wife has to do it with one friend. So that's already two friends, okay? And your children, each one has a friend. But how do you choose a friend? How do you choose your friend? Can we have suggestions, please? How do you choose your good friend? Who are you going to give your child?
Speak to the most.
Wisely. Isn't there a saying?
Okay, but when you're doing about your mitzvah of mishloach manot, how do you choose who you're going to give to?
Who you speak to the most? Who you're closest to?
Who you're closest to? Okay, so that could be nice. If you're closest to someone, giving them a present shows you appreciate you as a good friend. But according to Halacha, the opposite is true.
Yeah.
That's right. Why? Because the mitzvah of ish le're'ehu is to be marbe re'ut. What does it mean to be marbe re'ut? To what's the word? Increase or enlarge or make more friendship. That is marbe re'ut. It's making friends day. That is Purim. Everyone's happy. And you want to be giving your mishloach manot to somebody who's not expecting to get from you. That's what you want to think about. Somebody that maybe you should be friendly with or should be more friendly with. And this year, it's been I don't know, maybe you've had a bit of falling out with them, haven't really spoken to them so much. Maybe it's a neighbor, you're supposed to be friends with your neighbors. Maybe it's your brother-in-law, haven't been so friendly with them. Or maybe someone in synagogue, or somebody, my old partner, broke up the business with him, and I haven't spoken to him for a while. Marberot, I'm going to increase friendship. He's a Jew. I want to show him that I recognize him, and he's surprised. Wow, that's so nice of you. Thank you. You give me a nice mishloach manot on Purim day. And then you've done the best mitzvah. You fulfilled it, okay? If you're friendly with everyone, and then you can give whatever you want. I try and give somebody who's a little bit original. So maybe look out for somebody who's not going to get mishloach manot. Maybe think somebody who's a bit more lonely, is not getting something. Think of the best way to do your mitzvah. And then you can give additional ones to everyone. That is mitzvah of mishloach manot. So you got mishloach manot 1. How do you give a kosher mishloach manot? Can you do mishloach manot with flowers?
Is this based on individuals or households?
No, so thank you for the question, Yaakov. Every individual needs to give a mishloach manot. That means you have to give one, your wife has to give one. Your children, each one has to give one. Now, if you want to give your best friend, you can give your best friend as well. But make sure you give one to someone which is going to be a little bit unexpected. Someone had a little bit of a rough time, you want to smooth it over. It's a good time. A teacher, a neighbor. It's a good time to smooth things over. You had a little bit of rough edge with your neighbor. You tell him off about his parking. I don't know, about whatever it is. Now's the time you smooth it over. Get a nice bottle of wine or some cookies or anything, a drink, some nice mishloach manot. A kosher mishloach manot needs to be made of 2 foods, not to be confused. 1 mishloach manot of 2 foods. Okay, whereas the matanot le'evyanim is just 1 present of cash to 2 people. That means 2 individuals. Make sure you do that mitzvah properly. So that's the third mitzvah. You done Megillah, mitzvah number 1. Matanot le'evyanim, tzedakah 2. Mishloach manot number 3. Mitzvah number 4 is Seudat Purim. Very important Seudah, very mitzvah. So just again, to fulfill the mitzvah of mishloach manot has to be 2 ready-made foods. So the smallest mishloach manot would be maybe like 1 sweet, which is sha'akol, and maybe 1 biscuit, which is mizunot. Okay, that's the smallest thing, and it can get grand. Yeah, but according to how much you want to make the other person happy. The 4th mitzvah is mitzvah of Seudat Purim. Now, what if in somebody's confinement? He's quarantined and he can't leave his home. How are you going to do your mishloach manot?
Doorstep.
So, what do you mean doorstep?
Leave it on the doorstep.
If you're giving them, but what if you're in confinement?
But you can't do it with shaliach. What's the
Very
problem?
good. Shliach. So what is a shliach? Gilad said that you can do a messenger. Now the shliach, you can send it with someone else, a friend or a delivery company. They can do deliveries, and that's fine. It just has to be delivered on the day. Don't do mishloach manot at night. Early on the day. All the mitzvot have to be done in the day. The fourth mitzvah is mitzvah of Sudat Purim. Very important, Sudat Purim. Even though it's on Friday and you're busy for Shabbat, get organized beforehand and do the mitzvah. How do you fulfill the mitzvah? How do you do the mitzvah of Sudat Purim? So if you're vegetarian, you can have it difficult. But the mitzvah of Purim needs to be done with basar v'yain. Okay? It doesn't have to have basar, but if you enjoy your basar, then that is the time to have basar. Bread and wine. Mitzvah to have wine. There is an optional extra of drinking extra wine of chayv inish lebesumei. The Shulchan Aruch says that for a person to get drunk on Purim, but that is just to appreciate. Well, the purpose of getting drunk is that it distorts your vision, and really that is part of the day of Purim. It's not everything as we see it. Not everything is clear as what you see, and the things is not as what it appears
Can't I
to
just
see.
take off my glasses?
Okay, so you could take off your glasses if that's going to make you happy, but the day of Purim is to be happy and not really think about your worries, but also to distort the vision of your worries. So if you take off your glasses helps you and you forget about your worries, then maybe that's one way to fulfill it. But according to the Shulchan Aruch, you fulfill it by drinking wine, and wine is important because first of all the ness of Purim happened through Mishteh. In the beginning, Sudat Achashverosh, and at the end of Esther. Also, part of getting drunk is you don't see reality, and that is really the whole napochu, is to turn things around. No, reality is not as we see things. There's really God behind everything. Now you don't have to get drunk, and some authorities tell you not to get drunk. And in fact, according to the Ramah, the way you fulfill it, is to drink some wine and fall asleep. That's the best way, because then you fulfill it according to mitzvah, according to the day. When do you do Sudat Purim? When? So on Friday, it's very important to start the Suda early. Okay? So after you've done your mitzvot, you go do your Suda. 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. And you start your Sudat Purim. And you finish 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and then you go do Birkat Hamazon, Yeleh ve'avo, and you get ready for Shabbat. This year, because it happens early, okay. That's the best thing to do. There is some opinions that you can continue the Su'udah into Shabbat.
Excuse me, there's no Yaleh ve'avo, it's Al Nisim.
Thank you, Daddy. Thank you for that correction. Al Nisim. Al Nisim is what you say on Purim. Yaleh ve'avo is Rosh Chodesh. So thank you for that correction. There is some may have a minhag to continue the Sudat Purim into Shabbat. And what they do is they pores alav mapa. They do mincha early. Afterwards they do Sudat Purim. In the middle of Sudat Purim, they cover the bread. They do kiddush, and then they continue Sudat Shabbat. Now.
Yeah, but how do you do with the wine? You need to have.
Oh, so with the wine, you can just continue because you already made a bracha for the wine, Nagif, and you made a bracha for the bread.
No, but you're a bit,
you're a bit tipsy. Okay, so it's very good. It's also you need to remember you can't really do Birkat Hamazon or pray if you're a level of drunk that you can't respect yourself the way you talk. So you have to remember that as well. But according to the Arizal, you should not do that. You should not do Sudat Shabbat before you pray Arvit. So it's very important to do the Suda in the morning or early on, so you finish your Suda. And another problem is with Al Nisim, not Yaleh ve'avo. If you continue Sudat Purim into Shabbat, and Shabbat's not Purim, what are you going to do in Birkat Hamazon? Because you have to say Retzeh v'chalitzenu, because it's Shabbat. But if it's Shabbat, then it can't be Purim. So then you can't do Al Nisim. So in order to
Al Nisim in Shabbat, it's in Birkat Hamazon.
Sorry? Yeah. Al Nisim is in Birkat Hamazon after Nodelecha. So let's just do a quick recap and then we'll end the Halacha.
Sorry, you've got it in Shachrit and Mincha and Arvit for Shabbat.
In the Tefillah. Yeah.
In the Tefillah. You've got Al
after
Nisim.
Modim. After Modim, after we thank Hashem, Modim anachnu lach, we add on Al Anisim, and also for the miracles that you did
But why
for
is it in the
Esther,
Shabbat?
make for us as well.
Why is it in the
Because
Shabbat? If we
why-
don't say, why is it in
No,
the?
that's what I'm saying. It's not in Shabbat. This Shabbat is not Purim, so we don't say Al Anisim. That's why it's important to finish the Purim Seudah before Shabbat. So I'm just
But it
doing
would
a quick
it would-
recap. Sorry.
If Purim never falls on Shabbat, why is Halanisim mentioned in the Tefillat of Shabbat?
No,
I
it's
mean,
not.
Because you have Hanukkah first.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
yeah,
the
because
next
of
one
Hanukkah.
you've got-
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I mean-
it's just a printing. It doesn't actually fall on Shabbat.
Mm.
Okay, so let's just do a quick recap of what we learned today. On Tanit Esther, we spoke about who's patur. Okay, anyone who's ill or is in COVID, there's no patur. We said machatzit shekel, you give not from maaser money. We said how much? £6.50 for yourself or £1.50 for children. Then Mikra Megillah at night. You try and go to synagogue. If you can't, then you do Zoom. In the morning, what do? Shachrit and Megillah. After Megillah, you try and learn Torah for a few minutes, at least 1 minute of learning Torah, minimum. Every Jew, if you are a tzaddik, 5 minutes, okay? If you're feeling good, try and learn the Torah. If you're a big tzaddik, you do 2 hours. After the learning, you do make sure you all, before the learning, mitzvah of matanot le'evyonim, 2 people, the amount of the food for you and for your wife, so that's 4 people. If you're married, and then you give your children tzedakot. Then mishlach
Can we give the money for Matanot Levinim before?
advance.
Yeah.
Yes, you can give it in advance, but it has to be given out on the day.
Yeah.
You can give it in advance to begin out on the day, or you can give it out on the day to be given on the day. Don't give it on the day to be given out after Purim.
Of course.
Then Mishloach Manot, and then Sudat Purim early on, and make sure you do Al Anisim at the end of Birkat. Then you do Birkat Hamazon. Get ready for Shabbat. On Shabbat is Shabbat Zachor. Shabbat Zachor is to remember Amalek. Very important mitzvah, and that is this week. That was tomorrow. In 2 days we have Shabbat Zachor. What happens if you can't go to synagogue? Who's obligated to go? Is women obligated?
No.
Oh, or men. So men, according to most opinions, it's chiyuv d'oraita, which means it's a biblical obligation. Every week when you hear Torah in synagogue, it's only chiyuv d'rabanan. That means the obligation to read Parashat Zachor is more important than any other Shabbat. Women, it's a machloket if they're obligated in mitzvah or not. So even women or people who don't go to synagogue the whole year, on this Shabbat they go just to hear Shabbat Zachor to destroy the Amalek. And in fact, when you just hear the reading of Timchet Zecher Amalek, you're fulfilling the mitzvah, the oraita, Limchot Zecher Amalek, to annul or to delete, or to the memory of Amalek, which is the enemy of Israel, and the redemption will only come after we remove Amalek. So it's very important to go to hear the reading. If someone can't, a woman can't. A woman anyway, some people say they're not obligated, and you can't hear Zachor on Zoom. What do? So 2 things. First of all, you make sure you read it on the day at home from a Chumash. You open any Chumash, it's 3 psukim. It's very easy. It takes 1 minute or less to read it. And you read Zachor and you say, this is my mitzvah of it. If you cannot go to synagogue, you read at home. And then next time, when you go to synagogue, Parashat Ki Tetzeh, the Chazan always says, I'm going to have kavanah to be Yotzeh, anyone who wants to read reading. Because every year, once a year, you have to remember Amalek and reading from the Torah. Is there any questions?
No.
Any final questions? Okay, so thank you very much. I hope you all enjoyed this year.
One question. If you're eating in the morning, so that Purim,
Yes.
is there like a recommended time you should be finished by? If like,
Okay, so it's good you mentioned that point. It's going to be a bit from machloket because normally on Friday you don't do a seudah. You're not allowed to do a seudah because of Kavod Shabbat. But because of Purim, it's a seudat mitzvah, so you are allowed. So there's no problem. You can eat the seudat Purim. You just have to make sure yourself time to get ready for Shabbat and to sober up for tefillah. But once you've done mincha, you can do seudah, or you can also do seudah before mincha. So the options is there for you, however you do it.
So I heard something about having to be done by chatzot or something like that.
So that's on a normal Shabbat, but from what I've seen in the Poskim, you can do it also even off of Chatzot. Let me just have another glance at it. No, according to the Kabbalah, it is important to do it Shachrit as early as possible, just because of the mitzvah of Zrizim al-Kadimin, and there's also Inyan al-Piyasod also to do that. But you can do this so that if you didn't do it and manage to do it before Chatzot, you definitely do it after Chatzot, and you can even do it in the afternoon. You're supposed to finish. Yeah, sorry. You're supposed to finish before Shah Sirit, okay, which is in the afternoon, let's say an hour and a half before Shabbat, okay, 2.5 hours before Shabbat to finish. Even if you didn't finish, or even if you didn't start, you start. Even if it's 1 hour before Shabbat, you start. You start and you say Al-Nisim and you make sure, as long as it's not Shkia, you make sure you fulfill the mitzvah. But it is important to do that. But no, I didn't see anything about Chatzot.
Oh, thank you.
I didn't say, okay, if you find a source, show it to me, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, apart from the Mekubalim, that there's any to do it in the morning. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope you all enjoyed this year. Thank you for joining us.
Thank
you,
you,
Yaakov.
Rabbi.
Thank you,
Thanks a
Mo.
lot. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Gilad.
Thank you.
If anyone has any questions, please forward me. And we're looking forward to all taking part. If you want to make a donation, welcome.
Thank you,
Shabbat
Rabbi.
shalom.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Sameach.
Bye.